There's a famous saying that says, "We learn when we fail." And that applies to everyone except for the Democrats, who seem to be in a non-stop loop of losing and making bad choices and hating themselves. Because once again, here's an opportunity for a younger politician to take on a position of leadership, and the Democrats go, we're not the ones. In fact, can we find anybody older than this guy? Do we have anybody in our 90s? Anyone? No? And this has a lot to do with 84-year-old Nancy Pelosi and her disdain for AOC. I think largely because she represents a new tide of politics that makes Nancy Pelosi feel redundant and old. Because she is. And I'll say it because my career isn't in politics and she doesn't write checks to me. Nancy Pelosi needs to get out of the way. She's had like 6 decades to try to make this work, and it's not. Just because someone is kind or has done good things in the past doesn't mean that they get to stay and cause harm now. That's like lesson number 1 in therapy. Gen Z and millennials can tell you. Now, whether there was interference or the Republicans won legitimately, there was a mandate and the Democrats have to respond to that. And the way to do that is not the same way they've been doing things. Because the surest way to fail is to continue in the same pattern of behavior. Have people like Jerry Connolly advise from the sidelines. Give people like AOC an opportunity for leadership to learn how this works and how they might bring some strengths to this process. They might invigorate the party with some of their ideas. She's too progressive. AOC doesn't represent the ideals of the base of the Democratic Party. Okay, that's fine. I don't disagree with you. But we're in our circus era. We don't even need a politician. We need a ringmaster. Several people have commented that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is the same as a lot of these current establishment Democrats that will not retire and step aside for younger politicians to take their place. And I adamantly disagree with you. Like, I love your passion and I love where your head is at, but I don't think it's the same thing, and here's why. Unfortunately, I was old enough to remember this entire saga. I did a whole video on Merrick Garland, who was supposed to be Supreme Court Justice, but never was, because the Republicans just didn't vote on him for a whole last year. You think the Republicans just woke up one day acting like this? No, they've been around. And the Democrats have been the same pushovers the entire time. And if Ruth Bader Ginsburg had stepped down, then the Democrats, number 1, wouldn't have been able to replace her with anyone nearly as progressive because the Republicans would not have allowed it, or they risk not filling the seat entirely, as is the case with Brett Kavanaugh. This is why we have Justice Kavanaugh right now. People misremember the power that the Democrats had. They never had that. They never had that kind of majority. They weren't filibuster proof. I was there, and I absolutely promise you, unequivocally, there were not millions of people or even thousands of people calling for Ruth Bader Ginsburg to step down. In fact, most of us were like, please God, stay alive until a Democrat is in office that has tenure long enough and that the Democrats have enough power in the Senate to confirm a replacement that is as progressive. Please go look at the Supreme Court nominees and the makeup of Congress when they were nominated. I'll try to link my video, but if I can't, just Google it. Promise me you'll Google it, because it was like crazy days. Even some savvy political writers have gotten this wrong. I promise you, it was not that simple.